Hello, everybody. Hope you can hear me. Hello, Betty Boop. Glad to see you here. I decided to do this at kind of a last thing. Hi, BZ. I've been researching this case a little bit, and it really touched my heart in a lot of ways. And also, it makes me wonder what is wrong with our legal system. It's just absolutely amazing to me. Um, what actually went on with this little baby. Um, her name was baby Brianna Lopez. I don't even really know what her first name was. I don't even remember even really being able to find that out. But I would say it was one of the most horrific child abuse cases there ever was in 2002. But of the sentencing that the monsters got that inflicted this on this baby. They didn't get enough of a sentence. Hi, Groovy Granny. I'm gonna wait a few minutes, see if a few more of you get in here. But anyway, this actually happened in New Mexico. I role playing. Uh, so before I get into it, while we're waiting for a few people to get in, let's talk about Letitia Stouch a little bit. I watched when the sentencing was. I thought the jury did a wonderful job. I thought the judge did a terrific job. He pointed out every possible angle that disgusted him about her. And I was shocked that she could sit there and grin and smile and laugh at the end with her lawyers. Uh, it was just amazing that she could do that. I noticed some of her reactions when certain people got up and said things about her. Um, the reaction, and anytime anybody mentioned anything about her daughter, she kind of raised her eyebrows and kind of looked like, really. But this woman, I don't believe for 1 minute that she was insane. She's just evil. She was jealous. I believe in the relationship that I think she wanted to be. Actually, she wanted to be Gannon's mom. She didn't like being a stepmother. She didn't like being pinned down with her stepchildren. Her daughter was old enough she didn't need to be. And I just think it was just one of those situations to where she wanted to get back at his dad and she wanted to get back at the mother. Um, but anyway, at least we know she's gone. She's going to be gone for the rest of her life. I think by the time they're done with her, a few of the inmates get a hold of her in the prison system, she's going to know what it's like because uh, if you think about it, well, she's had it easy in jail. She's been pretty protected. But when she gets into the prison system, that's going to be a whole different story right there. Uh, so anyway, I want to talk about baby Brianna. And this baby was born February the 14th on Valentine's Day, 2002. And she was born to, well, I don't even know what the mother's name. I didn't even really get into. I know their names, but I didn't even write them down. I don't think they're worthy of even being mentioned as parents at all. I just don't. I don't think that for a minute. But anyway, she lived. She died on July the 19th, 2002. She lived 153 days. You can believe that. 153 days. She lived in a trailer. Her grandmother and her boyfriend lived there at the other end of the trailer. And the mother, the father, the uncle, and an 18-month-old baby brother she had, and her, they were all in one bedroom, which to me, that's disgusting right there in itself. And I can tell you that the grandmother and the grandmother's boyfriend, they knew what was going on. They did nothing. But anyway, what I was able to find out, she was she died from like a human, I don't know, brain bleed. but she had terrific injuries. Um, they said that, and I posted some pictures on my community post. There's several on YouTube if you want to go look at them and research it a little more. It's just horrible. That baby had broken bones. She had fractures. She suffered from uh, shaken baby syndrome. They had thrown her up in the air and let her hit her head on the ceiling um, 2 and 3 times at one time. Her mother threw her approximately 2 feet across the room into a car seat thing. And keep in mind, didn't even do anything at all for herself. No way of defending herself whatsoever. Um, and I found this on Law Crime, and uh, it really, the guy did a really good job. And the police did notice that there was no pictures of her in the whole any place in the house at all. Um, she'd also been raped, uh, both areas, Diana, both places. Baby Brianna was 153 days old, not quite 6 months old. It's one of the worst cases of child abuse there was in New Mexico in 2002. And anyway, she had, other than the bruising, the broken bones, the uncle said, well, he said, I thought I did something, and when I come to my senses, I stopped. But yet her blood was found in his underwear at that time. And uh, it was stated too that the father and the uncle would stuff something in her mouth to keep her from screaming because they laughed when she would scream and holler when they were abusing her. Um, I can tell you uh, one thing that really disturbed me the most is these grandparents got 5 months in jail. They got five, the grandmother, and the boy for knowing what was going on. They got a 5 month sentence. Why? I don't know. I have no idea. The mother got 27 years, but she was paroled in 2021 for good behavior, and she got 2 years probation. The dad got 63 year sentence, and he was moved to Oregon for his own safety. I would have left him there and wouldn't give crap what happened to him. He didn't deserve any protection. The uncle was got 57 years. He's in Santa Fe. And these guys were, none of these people were but about 5 foot tall and weighed 100 pounds. This is what was really shocking. I mean, can you imagine those little people and nobody could get grasp of anything that was going on. None of this stuff was reported. I mean, it's just terrible. And another thing that really bothers me, where she's buried, the family members took and built a they took and built a cage around her grave because they don't want anybody putting flowers, toys, stuffed animals, anything out there in remembrance of that little girl. But people keep tearing into it and they set the stuff there anyway. Now, why would these people be so cruel to not want people remembering this baby and how she suffered? How could they be? Are are we really going to classify these people as human? Can you really classify any of these people who put that cage around that grave, which had to be a family member? It's like somebody built it and it's got this wiring around it, and people have opened the wiring to put stuff. But to be so cruel that they didn't want anybody putting any flowers or toys or stuffed animals. I mean, to me, that's just, how cruel can you be? You know, this baby never had a life, never had a prayer of a chance. And from the time she was born, I'm thinking until the day she died, she was just abused horribly. I mean, there's just no other way of looking at her, at the situation at all. I mean, it's just horrible. Now, I'm sorry about that, groovy granny. She died on your birthday. Yeah, I don't know. To me, I was just so shocked that that these people, why in the world? I just don't understand how they got a 63-year-old sentence, 63 years, 57 years. The mom got 27 years and already got paroled in 2021. She served, I think they said, half of her sentence and 2 years probation. So that means that she got out of prison before the 18-month-old baby was even of legal age. So does she have access to that child again? I don't even know where that child ended up. I've got to research it a little bit more and see what I can find. But to me, this case was just so disturbing. And this is one of the things I'm talking about. Why is our systems letting these babies down? I mean, is that enough that this wasn't reported? But to me, 27 years, the mother knew about it. She was part of it. She was complicit, to it. She knew what was going on. She didn't care. To me, I don't understand at all why she didn't get. I don't understand why any of them didn't get a life sentence without the possibility of parole. They tortured, they abused, they raped, they beat, and they just absolutely. I mean, it's no, it's you can't say anything less than that they tortured this child, this little baby, every day of her life. And I can tell you, I know for a fact there's people out there that have never had children that would have loved to have had that little girl. There's just, I mean, it's disturbing. And the pictures I put on my community post are nothing like what I found on social media. Those were the best ones that that showed the less trauma, in my opinion. And that's not saying much. I mean, but I don't understand why they didn't get life in prison for this. I mean, I don't get it. But I'm not familiar that much with New Mexico laws um, at all. Uh, why shouldn't they got the same sentence that Letitia got? I mean, maybe they didn't. Yeah, they did call 911. The mother called 911 the next on the 19th when the baby was unresponsive and colored in her crib. And you know what they did on top of that? They laid her on the kitchen table and put a blanket on her and said goodbye to her. And the mother covered her head before um, 911 could even get there and pronounce her dead. And it was also said that they all said goodbye to her. I don't get that. And I can tell you that among nurses and the police officers, they cried when they seen uh, the shape that this baby was in. It was that horrible that even the police officers that were called to the scene, they said were crying. And when she got to the hospital, doctors and nurses were crying and very emotionally disturbed um, from them. And I kind of understand sometimes why police officers and either even doctors and even nurses, they after so many years they see so many things. I can understand sometimes why they just can't deal with it anymore because it's just horrible some of the calls that they're called out on the things situation. But like I said, I just don't understand why that they weren't given a life sentence. And especially the grandmother and her boyfriend, they said they knew about it. They just didn't bother with it. They didn't care about what was going on. And they got 5 months. 5 months. And her boyfriend was also the brother. I believe it was to his last name's Walters. I think it was to the father of Brianna. That was his uncle, another uncle, and another one of them that lived there too was a twin to one of them. I'm not sure. I can't. I don't know all the details. I had to stop looking at it because it just got to be too much. It got to be very deep and disturbing, and I kept thinking back to how much that I would have given anything. I had a baby that died at 4 months old from SIDS. I would have given anything for my daughter to have been saved, anything. And I just, it breaks my heart because I know there's people out there, just like with little Noel Rodriguez that's missing. Sure, he had issues, but I'm sure it's from his mother's alcohol abuse and stuff. But if she didn't, the foster mother said she would have been happy to take him. They loved him and they would have been happy to take him. There's people out there that don't have children that will take children. These people don't, they don't want them. So why torture them? It's to me, it's just, this is just a way for these sick people to act. They had, this baby was helpless. She couldn't fight back. So they found, to me, it was an obstacle for them to abuse on a daily basis. Hey, Tat, thanks for being here. And Tats knows a lot about this case. Uh, but to me, and like I said, one of the most disturbing things to me, yes, her name was Stephanie. Thank you. Yeah, Andy. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. I know her last name was the mother's last name is the baby's last name was Lopez. I did know that. But the thing that, like I said, why would they put a wire cage around this baby's grave? Why would they not want people remembering this little baby? They certainly don't care. So why would they care if people are putting flowers and stuffed animals and toys out there for her and lighting candles and putting things? Why should they even care? I don't understand why that they care. Why they even care. Um, you know, and even, not back in 2012, but now there's no excuse. If you don't want your child, all you have to do is drop it off at the fire department or at a hospital. They'll take it and you won't ever be charged with anything. But see, this child was an obstacle for them to abuse, to take whatever it is. And they try to say, oh, they only had, the mom said she had 3 beers and she didn't know anything that was going on. And the others, they said they had 4 or 5 beers and they was playing video games or something. Bullshit. I call bullshit on that. They were all busy torturing this baby, and this mother she didn't care. She just didn't care. The father didn't care. You talk about, I don't know how why did the 18-month-old survive and had no signs of child abuse, but this baby, this 5 month, not even 5 months old, she lived 153 days. Why did they abuse this child until they killed her? Sexually abusing not even a 5 month old baby, and talking about how they inserted their fingers in her up to their knuckles. These guys are sick, disgusting people, and they didn't even get a life sentence. And here, dear old sweet mama's out after serving half of a 27-year sentence. She's out. 2021 was on parole for 2 years, so she's, you know, I imagine by the end of this year she's going to be out on the free streets, of wherever she's living. I do know that they had to have a lot of security when she was released. There was 60,000 signatures that were taken to try to keep this woman in prison, and it didn't work. And I can tell you one thing that pleased me very much on this, and anybody can ridicule me that wants to. I don't care at this point. But they did beat the crap out of this mother in prison. She had the crap beat out of her. She had black eyes. They beat her. I don't even know what all they did to her. They didn't say. The pictures I seen look pretty graphic. But you know what? She deserved it. And you know what? They moved the father to Oregon because they was afraid for his life. Why move him to Oregon? Let him stay in there. Who cares? After what they did to this baby, who can have any sympathy for that man, her own father, torturing his child to death? And why was there 5 people living in one bedroom? And this grandmother and the grandmother's boyfriend that got 5 months, they were complicit to this. They knew, to me, they should have got it. To me, they should have got at least 25 years each. That's my opinion. Just for knowing and not doing anything. Um, It's just, yeah, they were attached. The pictures were horrible. I've seen some on YouTube, and they were, yeah, yep. They should have left him. They should have left him in there and let him go through the pain that she. I have no sympathy for these people. I'm sorry, and it's just like I was saying about Letitia. After I seen her stand there or sit there in the courtroom. And then when she stood up after she'd been sentenced and she stood there and laughed and smiled with her lawyers, that is not a woman that's insane. She knew exactly what she was doing. She was jealous of Gannon's mother because Gannon loved his mother and he wanted his mom and he didn't want her. And most children don't want a step parent when they're hurt or not feeling good. They want their mom, and he loved his dad. His dad is, and guys, I didn't know this till I heard it in court. I didn't even know about this. Um, Al's Stouch's new wife, they lost their baby, and their baby was a boy. So he lost both of his sons, both of them. So that was, but she got exactly what she deserved. The judge did right on her, and I only wish that the judge. I think if they had a death sentence in Colorado, she would have got death. I really do. Um, because yeah, it's just this is just oh my God. Yeah, they said there was no with Brianna, there was no pictures of her, no pictures of her any place in the house. Nobody had ever took any pictures of her on the walls or anything. So was this child doomed from the day she was born? I think so. I think she was. She was a beautiful baby, beautiful little girl. Um, and to me, people like this, I don't. Why is her mom out? Her mom's not been rehabilitated. How can you rehabilitate somebody um, when they served what 13 years, 13 and a half years, and she allowed this? She knew this stuff was going on. She said she had two or three beers and she slept through it. No, she didn't. And you're not gonna if she cared. She never questioned the bruising, never questioned the bumps on her, fractures that were healing, the way she was bleeding from her rectum and her vaginal area. She didn't mind throwing her 2 feet across the floor herself to land in a car seat. She didn't mind any of that. So again, I'm saying our judicial systems are letting, even in death, are letting these children down. They're letting these children down. Now, with Letitia, she got exact. You know what? They didn't even. He mentioned about her attacking that Marshall when she's being transported. That I don't believe he even sentenced her on that because she had those other charges enough to where she's not going to live long enough to even um, do everything, take care of everything anyway. So um, I don't know, guys. It's just it is. It's just they're evil. It's just plain evil. These people are, to me, they belong to the devil. There's nothing, and people say they can be rehabilitated. I'm not God, but I don't think that God will have any mercy on these people after torturing this baby. I just can't see it because I can't ever see any of these people ever coming forward and ever saying that they were truly bad. They did something horrible. They're sick. They're evil. They needed help. If anything, if they really felt that bad, they should have asked the judge just to put them to death, as far as I'm concerned, because that's what they deserve. They took a life and they deserve for their life to be taken. That's just the way. And in Texas, oh, I can guarantee you they would have got the death sentence, all of them. She wouldn't have walked. They would all three have got the death sentence. And I thought for her to call 911 and say that her daughter wasn't, the baby wasn't breathing. And after she had that, she died from a brain bleed. She'd had so many blows to the head that she actually had a brain bleed. It's the way they explained it. That's what finally killed her was the brain bleed. But she had had shaken baby syndrome, just all kinds of things. I mean, just literally, they tortured this child. And then to lay her on the table while they're waiting for 911 to get there and put a baby blanket over her, and they said they all said goodbye to cover her face. What kind of sick people do this? I mean, this is, I don't know, guys. I'm telling you. Um, some of these cases, this is exactly why I wanted to start a channel and look into this stuff. And 60,000 signatures didn't keep that mother in there. That 60,000 signatures did not keep that mother confined. And that right there, tells me plenty. It just does. And BZ, I lost my son in a car accident. I was 4 weeks to go. He didn't even open his eyes, and he didn't get to hold me. And it hurt me so much when they took him off me. Yes, I know. I can imagine how you feel. I'm just my daughter was my baby was 4 months old. She was perfectly fine. This is back in '76, where they didn't know a lot about SIDS. And I put her picture on my community post, and she was a breastfed baby, and I had a routine, and I woke up at 4 o'clock to go feed her, and I got a bottle of water because I always give her water after nurse her. I had her diaper out, her rag and clean outfit and everything, her powder and wet wipes and stuff. And when I went in and picked her up, she was limp as a rag and blue. She was still warm. Um, Called 911, and I knew at 5 o'clock in the morning going in an ambulance, the lights were on, but they never went fast. And I was in the ambulance with them. Um, they did let me hold her back in the emergency room after they pronounced her dead. And I was lucky to have a doctor that was on duty that night whose sister actually had lost a baby from sudden infant death when he was 6 months old. Now, the lady that started the SIDS Foundation, she was accused of murdering her baby back, I believe it was in '64. And that's before they knew a lot about SIDS. But SIDS babies all have the similarity. There's a lot of people that's got away with smothering, killing their children, and it got classified as a sudden infant death, but it was not. Um, it's just, it's just terrific. I don't know what to tell y'all. I mean, this case is absolutely between crying and being so mad. I could almost scream. That's the way I was because these people not getting a life sentence. I mean, especially that mother being out already. That's just because her son was 18 months old. So you add, say 2 years, you add 14 years she was in there. That's making him not even 16. So she's still seeing her son. I don't know. I don't know. But I just know that it's horrible. Yeah, the boyfriend was charged. I know. Yes. Are you talking, Granny? Are you talking about the Oh, your grandson's baby sister was murdered. She was a year and 3 days old. Her mother got no time, but the boyfriend. Oh, really? That's terrible. Did your grandson's baby sister? Did the mother know what was going on, or was this going on? Was it something where it wasn't visible and it happened just with him being, just doing it, flipping out, doing it? I mean, I'm just asking because I'm shocked at all the cases of mothers who have allowed their boyfriends and stuff to kill these children. I know there's that little Oakley girl from Oklahoma. They found her remains. She was in I think a dresser drawer and a thing in a abandoned place. They found her, and the mother allowed that boyfriend to completely. The mother was in the home, and great. So why did they not charge her? That's terrible. Alexis was the mother. Yeah. See. Uh, yeah. Well, That's why when I was so glad when they come out with the studies on sudden infant death. And back then, they told us to put in 70s, in 75, put your baby on stomach. You could put covers on them. It didn't hurt for toys to be in there. Now, then I want you to you put the baby on the back, on the baby's side. You don't put any pillows in there. You don't put any stuffed animals. They say to dress them in something where they don't need a blanket in there. Don't put anything in the bed with them at all. Um, there's just a lot of new things. But the thing about it is, and see, back, I lived in Missouri then, and any child that died under the age of 5, uh, they automatically did an autopsy. You didn't have to sign for one or anything, it was automatic. And they said they couldn't find anything wrong with her. She was a perfectly healthy, normal. Well, actually, she was 3 months and 19 days to be her exact age. And they said she was found to be a perfectly uh, normal, healthy baby. And they couldn't find anything wrong other than that thymus gland that seems to, if it's underdeveloped, what it is, they believe these babies get in such a deep sleep that when this is not developed enough, it doesn't remind them to breathe. They forget to take a breath, basically, and they just forget to breathe, and they just go to sleep and they forget to breathe. Okay, because the boyfriend put her down for a nap in 90% 90 room and wrapped a blanket around her head to hold the bottle in her mouth. Mm. Wrapped it around her head to hold the bottle. You mean he propped her up with a bottle? Oh my God! How long ago did this happen, Granny? Mm. Yes, easy. Yeah, well, when my next child was born, 4 years later, my son, and this was from a different marriage. He did the same thing at about 3 months. He did it 2 hours after he had his first DPT shot. And luckily, where we was living at the time, there was a fire department just within a mile and a half from us. We went up there and they checked him and everything. And uh, I had a doctor's appointment the next, um, well, a week before the next incident happened to take him back for his second set of shots. Thank God uh, we was at a commissary because my husband at that time's dad was in the military and he was too, but they had commissary privileges. And he did this again. There's an off duty military doctor there. And he said, your baby's having seizures. And he was immediately took to hospital for 2 weeks and he was took by ambulance to Texas Children's where he spent, oh my gosh, about 5 weeks in the hospital being tested and stuff. I was taught CPR and everything before I could bring him home. And he was on a breathing machine, or not a breathing machine, but apnea monitor, that sound and alarm. And he was on that till he was 16 months old. So he was called a near misses um, because until that mechanism had in the thymus gland had completely developed. So yeah, this is actually, I don't know. This case here to me was just very disturbing, and just the fact that they would go to the length. What does it tell you when somebody's going to go to the lengths to go to the cemetery and build a cage around her grave where they don't want people putting anything there? How disturbing is that? I mean, what does that tell you about what kind of people these people are? How uncaring can you get? To me, those are just very, very uncaring people. Uh, I am going to get this other channel started, but I just had to come on here and talk to you about this case. And I know I hear a lot of people talking about Letitia that something about, uh, I guess, Al's mother at one time told somebody she needed help. Well, I haven't been able to find that any place, but nevertheless, I don't think she had any kind of mental issues at all. She was just evil, just exactly like these people. Or she wouldn't have gone to the lengths to take and cut this boy up, torture him as many days she did, cut him in pieces. I mean, it wasn't bad enough that she stabbed him 18 times. She shot him on top of that. Then she dismembered his body in the garage and she drove to Florida and disposed of his body. I mean, how sick, how sick can you possibly get? And to me, that isn't somebody that's insane. That's somebody that's just pure evil, just evil as they come. But I am going to look into some more cases. I did want to bring this one to y'all's attention. Um, there's a lot of information on YouTube, and it just amazes me that these guys are 5 feet tall and weigh 100 pounds. I don't think there's going to be much left of them by the time the prison systems are done with them. And hopefully, I hope they never see the light of day again. I don't think any of them deserve it. I think eventually that mother, she'll end up paying the piper in the end. I'm sure somebody's going to catch up to her someday because, you know, uh, everything in life that bad that's done, it can come around. It'll come around back to you. So, yes, they're psychopaths. Yes, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with these people. I mean, you can remember how many beers you had. And like the uncle said, if you can say, oh, I woke up, I realized what I was doing and I stopped. But yet his blood was in, yeah, her blood was in his underwear. And they described what they did, and they described stuffing something in her mouth because they didn't, to keep her from screaming, and they laughed at it because they thought it was funny. Those are very, very, very evil people. Those aren't people that have any kind of illnesses. They're just cruel. They're just mean people. And I still don't get why at all why the 18-month-old little boy was not abused. It's just like I don't understand it. Or at least they don't say anything about him ever being abused or anything. But any kind of a grandparent that would allow a grandmother that would allow this stuff to go on and put more, what would you say? She just didn't care. She said she knew. She didn't want to bother with it. She knew what was going on. And the man she's with was related to the baby's father and uncle. So, um, yeah, I mean, excuse me. It's just, I don't know, guys. Um, I just don't know. But I did want to come on here and talk to you all about this. I hope to get the other channel going to get back to my cooking. I did see my doctor today. I'm having my MRIs done on Saturday. Next week, I should know something about where I'm at. On he said after he sees my MRIs, what he's planning on doing. I can't get my bone density done until next month, but I'm going to try to do everything I can do to keep myself walking longer and not have to be to where I can't get around because I just don't want to even think about that at all. But I do notice I'm having a little bit more difficulty walking here lately. But I don't know, guys. It's just one of those things. Everybody has to have, things going on in their life. I've been dealing with this for 22 years with my back and stuff, and it's just an ongoing thing. So, um, and I hate him to take pain medicine all the time. I hate it. Um, I used to be on, I had so many fractures and I've got herniated disc and bulging disc. I used to be on so much medicine. I didn't even know what world I was in. I can actually tell you that. I was on Oxycontin, Norco, and Soma, and gee, I don't know what all I was on. I was on 22 different medicines at one time. And I didn't know what world I was in. And I took myself off the Oxycontin, off a lot of drugs because it just, to me, it wasn't worth not being able to live. I was just existing. I wasn't living. And, To me, I think people need to feel a little bit of pain because if you're so numb to pain, then you have a tendency to hurt yourself more. Thank you, Betty. I appreciate that. I'm not telling you all this stuff for I don't want people feeling sorry for me at all because I've been dealing with this for a long time. And, it's just one of those things that you have to cope with in life. Some things you just have to happens to you, and you just learn to deal with it the best you can. But I'm just saying that I'm not on near the medications. I take Norco, but I'm on Tramadol. I take it every 24 hours. That's it. I'm not anything like I used to be. And he said he's sure I've got a lot more damage. The thing that concerning is he said that my spine has narrowed so much that it's impending in on the nerves, and he's afraid my spine's going to just collapse. So, yes, I know role playing. Some of those drugs are horrible. They just and you go through withdrawal. It's horrible. And the thing about it is, if you don't have good insurance, the cost is it's just horrible. And the withdrawal, I got thinking, my gosh, you get out of here, and what if this happens? And I can remember having to get it when I was during a hurricane, and the doctors thought they didn't have any electricity, and I had to go over there, and the doctor's office, the doctor was writing the prescriptions coming out the car, was writing the prescription in the parking lot so we could have our medicine because they had no power. And uh, some of the pharmacies was working on backup generators. Yes, Groovy Granny, yes. When you live with pain every day, yes, it is terrible. It really is. And it's not fun. And it's like I tell people, I hate taking medicine every day. But sometimes you have to because the pain gets so bad you literally think you're going to pull your hair out. And last year I had shingles for 5 months. 5 months. And you want to talk about something that's hell? Oh boy, those shingles are bad. I had blisters so bad I couldn't wear a bra for 5 months. I was broke out all underneath my breasts. I was broke out all around my waist, all around my shoulders, down my back. And I have nerve damage every place I had those shingles. And the doctor said what causes, of course, I had chicken pox, but he said another thing that causes shingles is stress. And when your body, he said, gets stressed out from pain, that has a tendency to be a flare up. And back then was during COVID and stuff. At the end of it, stuff, the doctors were cutting down and stuff on things. And, um, and this was last year. I mean, the stress levels were terrible for 2 years, during COVID. I think it just accumulated. And, you know, I've just had to come on here and talk to you all a little bit about this and let you know that I'm going to be getting back to doing some cooking at least once a week. And, but I do want to get this started on this child abuse because this is very concerning and to me. And we've got to do something to change our judicial system. And if 60,000 signatures couldn't stop this woman getting released, what's it going to take? How many children have to die, for this to happen? You know, you do same issues, kidneys, yes. And that's another thing, diabetes, yes. That's another thing that I didn't know. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I didn't know that you can develop diabetes. I thought it was just from the steroids. Actually, diabetes is from being in a lot of pain and having a lot of any kind of bad illness and stuff. It's terrible. It just is. Your mom just got over shingles. Oh, I know. I couldn't stand. I'm telling you. And at that time, my daughter had fell on her hand and crushed her hand, and she'd had surgery. I had to have my son-in-law doctor my back. I went through. I don't know how many cans of that Thermoplast, that spray that numbs your has lidocaine in it to numb that. It was the worst thing. That was worse than the pain I go through for my back. I'm telling you, those blisters, and it doesn't itch. It's just a I don't know how to explain it. It is just a painful. It's like it sends bolts. You feel like somebody's shocking you, and plus the pain and the shocking, and then you get these big old blisters on you, and they just spread. I mean, it looks like you have the chicken pox. Is what it looks like. That's what exactly what it looks like. Only they're bigger. Um, yes, these babies. One too many babies dying is too much. Yeah, they're burning blisters, groovy granny. Exactly. It is. It's terrible. But I guess I don't even know what happened to this mother. I don't know if y'all know. I know they had to have a lot of security when she was released because people was standing outside there calling her every name there was and wishing death on her, which I can't blame them. When she was released, I know she was put in a police car and took out. I have no idea where they took her. I guess it was about like with Casey Anthony. She was removed for her own safety with the police and stuff because they didn't want anything happen to her when she walked out. But it's just disturbing to me. It just really is all this stuff going on. So anyway, that's about all I have tonight. I just wanted to talk to you about that, tell you exactly what I thought about the Letitia Stouch case. I think the judge got it right. I think the jury took their time to make sure that nobody come back and said they didn't consider everything. They just could see through it. I mean, none of it made any sense. And like I said, her actions alone in court, she showed no remorse. She just and to stand there and sit there with their lawyers and laugh and stand up and smiling and laughing, raise her eyebrows when they talked about what her own daughter was going through. Yeah, that tells you plenty. I mean, not her, her daughter. Yeah, her daughter. What her daughter. I think Al was talking about that. How he felt sorry for her daughter and what she had to endure and stuff. You could see her eyebrows raised, and she just kind of like giving him a smug, like how you roll your eyes and give somebody a smug. Her daughter did suffer from being around her mom, but the thing about it is that's her mother, and she loves her mother. She knows how bad her mother is, but she loves her mother. But for her mother, for Letitia to try to blame her daughter and even try to blame Gannett's sister for some of this and that they helped. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Holly, I'm about ready to end it. You have to go back and listen to the beginning. I did post some pictures over my community post that aren't as bad as some, but this is about little baby Brianna Lopez that was murdered back in 2002 in New Mexico by her mother, dad, and an uncle. And I can't even, I critical thinking, I can't even begin to tell you. Well, I can actually go over to y'all here real quick. I can tell you. She was born February the 14th, 2002, and she died July the 19th, 2002. She was 153 days old. She lived in a trailer. Her grandmother and her grandmother's boyfriend lived there, and her mother, dad, her 18-month-old brother, and an uncle and her all shared one bedroom. She died from a bleeding to the brain, but she had been thrown up in the air. She had shaken baby syndrome. She'd been thrown in the air so many times her head had been hit. She'd been thrown across the room by her mother. She was sexually abused. Both areas by the uncle and the father. They stuffed stuff in her mouth and would laugh at her. She had broken bones. She was bruised all over. I think her fingers, they said there was stuff even for her fingers. Oh, and also, this is another thing. She had been bit 15 times. And the mother said, oh, that was from the 18-month-old brother. No, they said that they were adult bites. It was not from the 18-month-old at all. They were adult bites. And the uncle, they did find blood in his underwear that matched hers. Is this a baby whose mother was to be released last? Actually, her mother was released in 2021 after serving half of the sentence for good behavior. Her mother got 27 years and she was released. She was paroled in 2021. She's got 2 years probation. Um, the father is serving 63 years. They moved him to Oregon because they were all threatening to kill him, I guess, they're in the prison. The uncle got 57 years. He's in Santa Fe. The grandmother and the grandmother's boyfriend got 5 months because they said they knew what was going on and they just didn't care, basically. Um, I do know that they made the point that um, these people, they called them the three monsters. They weren't even, they stood 5 foot and they weighed 100 pounds. Exactly, Holly. Why? I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't even know why the little boy, I mean, it's just heartbreaking. It's just, but why? I don't understand why they didn't get life in prison. I really don't. And I do think if Colorado had had the death sentence, I do believe Letitia Couch would have got the death sentence. They've seen through her. That's for sure. But another thing I don't understand about where this little baby's buried, the family went out and built a cage, this with wood and this like chicken wire screen around it and put it on top of her grave. They didn't want anybody putting flowers or stuffed animals or toys or anything out there. Who does that kind of stuff? How cruel can you be? That you would care that people were remembering an innocent baby that died. You didn't care, but what about all the people that did care? And you're gonna, and so what people did, they've actually cut through that wiring and put stuff out there anyway. It doesn't stop them. It's not stopping them at all. But this case is just one of the, I don't know, it's one of the sickest cases I've ever read about. It just, and that, again, they said there was no photos of the baby in the house at all. When when they called, the mother called the 911. She said the baby was unresponsive, and they got there. They had moved the baby on a table and had her laying on a table with a blanket over. They said they told her goodbye, and the mother had covered her face. Um, the police officers were crying. They said doctors and nurses at the hospital cried because this baby went such through such horrific torture. She was tortured to death. This baby was sexually abused. These guys even talked about sticking their fingers in or up to their knuckles. I mean, these are some very sick, very sick, disgusting, evil people talking about that stuff. I mean, it's just this child. I think that's all she knew. The 153 days that she lived. I think that's the only thing this poor baby knew was torture, and she was a beautiful little girl. I just don't understand if she didn't want her, why didn't she leave her at the hospital or take her to a fire department or drop her off at the hospital later? Why did the grandmother not care? This was the mother, the birth mother, birth father, and an uncle torturing this baby. I mean, and the uncle's going to say, "Yeah, I remember waking up and catching myself doing this during I stopped," but he did. He was lying. I mean, it's actually this case. You can look at it on if you have a minute later and are willing, I would like to ask you something privately, sir. I'm not sure. Okay. All right. I'd be glad to do that. Yes, BZ, they were sick and disgusting. Absolutely. They sure were. They were. Um, they were really just, yeah, that's all I can say. They were absolutely just horrible, horrible people. Um, there's just nothing else to say about it. I tell you what, critical, if you want to, I'll tell you what, just go ahead. You want to ask me something private, I'll give you a different email and you can email me. Because a lot of people know me by my real name anyway, from being over on Menzies for so long. It's Paula, Paula, Joiner, all lowercasing, Joiner, 1951 at gmail.com. Okay? You can just email me and I'll be glad to talk to you about anything. Yeah, Holly, it makes you wonder who went wrong hmm with the mom. She was once a little girl too. Well, the mom, her mother, they lived with her mother. It was her mother that they lived with in that trailer, and her mother knew what was going on. The grandmother knew, and she didn't do anything. Her mother's boyfriend was related to the uncle and the uh, yeah, the uncle of the baby. Yeah. Okay, BZ, take care of yourself. Uh, I hope you have a good outcome with your specialist and everything. Take care. Okay. Thanks for being here. Yeah. But that's just yeah, it's just one of those things. This it just crushed me. This case did. Yeah. I would guess that this is a sort of family tradition. Makes you wonder, but it makes you wonder why the 18-month-old baby never had any abuse. They said he hadn't been abused at all. And this mother getting out, well, he was 18 months old when this happened. So if she served um, half of 27 years there, that means that what she served 13 and a half years. So if you add even 14 years to that, he was 16. So did she have contact with him again? I don't know. Was Brianna the only female? Yes, she was the only female child. The little boy that was 18 months old was a boy. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it might be critical thinking. I don't know. I really don't know. Um, that's what I'm saying. There's just so many more cases out here that need to be, and there were 60,000 signatures to keep this mother in prison, and it didn't work. This is the reason why I stepped away from um, the Watts case, is because I was involved in that for almost 5 years on both sides. It's just too, that case is so toxic. And I just don't think we're ever going to know until, no, yeah, I don't even know if we can ever even believe CW on that at all because he's lied so much. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever know totally. I mean, after all, SW's dad said he's the only one that knows what really happened. So I just have to leave it at that. But these cases need attention. These kind of cases really, I mean, they need attention. And like I said, if people think that case was bad, look at this one. Look at what a mother and dad did to this child. There's a lot of cases out here that are a lot worse. And you look at the Stouts case, that was a stepmom. These were the birth parents of this baby that did this. That is horrible. It's horrible enough, but I mean, the birth parents, I mean, it's just, I don't know, guys. I just, and I was beyond shocked. Yes, I did follow the Gannon Stouch case. Yes, Ollie, I did. And when I watched the judge sentence her, I thought the jury took their time. They thought everything through carefully. I think the judge explained to her fully everything that he seen through her on and things that she just couldn't explain away. I do feel the way he did. I think she was jealous of Gannon's mother because Gannon loved his mother and she felt like she wasn't getting the attention and stuff from the kids because she was the stepmom and she was there with the children. And I don't think she wanted to be. I think she wanted her freedom. But I think that I watched her reactions at the end when he sentenced her, and even when she stood up with her lawyer, she was laughing. And her reactions when people come up and in Gannon's behalf and give the mother, dad, and relatives come up and talked about what it had done to their lives and stuff, and with that, what she robbed him of. his childhood. She robbed him from ever graduating from high school, ever going to a prom, ever going to college, ever getting married, ever having children. She robbed him from his life. And like I said, it wasn't bad enough that she stabbed him 18 times. She shot him on top of that, dismantled his body, and took his body to Florida, thinking that she could dispose of him like he was trash. Yeah, that. Yeah, I'm telling you, I think if they had the death sentence in Colorado, she would have got that right away. But these cases that there's some more cases I'm going to talk about um, that they haven't gone to court yet, or they have not got the parents, or they haven't got like Noel Rodriguez here. The mother and stepfather's over in India. I don't know if they're going to get him back or not, but hope they do because we need to know what happened to him definitely. The psychiatrist for the defense, she was all over that. I think that psychiatrist was a piece of work, is what I think. She was supposed to be so good. You're right, she was all over the place, and I would have been ashamed to view somebody like her, actually. Nancy Pelosi, yes. Yeah, rambling on and on. She she I would have been ashamed. I don't know how she could be so popular. Of I just don't get it because she didn't sound like a psychiatrist because I don't think she knew anything. I don't. I agree. She does. She did look a lot like her and act like her. She has a very strong, yes, she does. She does. Yeah, but I agree with you, Ollie. Yeah, there's only so much you can take on these cases, and there's only so much you can listen to. Just when I seen just some things about that, just that reaction with Letitia and stuff, when people were saying how much what the loss of Gannon had done to their lives and stuff, and her reaction, even when they mentioned her daughter. I mean, she rolled her eyes and raised her eyebrows like, the nerve of you saying anything like that about her. But she tried to blame Harley. She tried to blame her and help me. She even tried to blame Gannon's sister, for God's sake. Said they were all involved. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Yes, I can't believe how really they try hard to get these evil. Yes, I don't people off. I don't know why they try so. Now, defense attorneys are. They don't really. Some of them, if they're court appointed, they don't have. I've heard they don't have much choice. They have to really take the cases. But who paid for this woman? Did the state pay for this woman to come in to testify for Letitia? Because they need to get their money back because that was a waste of time. This lady needs to retire and fast because she just, I don't know, are rooted in her. Yes, including that every serial killer experienced trauma. No, that's not true. Not every serial killer has actually been traumatized. Some, yes, but not all of them. That's just not so. I don't where she come. I don't know what all she's looked at, but she sure ain't looked at all of them because that's just not so. But anyway, guys, that's all I have tonight. Been on here an hour. I'm going to look into some more questions. And I'm going to get back to some of my cooking too. But I do want to get this other channel going on this because I think this child abuse needs to be addressed very badly. And I think you all agree with me. I mean, there's just way too many children dying at the hands of parents and even foster parents and even adopted parents. Um, and I don't mean to sound like I'm rattling on, but it's just, I'm just shocked. This case just blew my mind. I had never really heard of this case. And when I come across it, I just couldn't shake it. And I said, no, I've got to research this. I got to bring this case to people's attention because the more that these parents are not looked into when and Why not make these family members responsible? 5-month sentence. The grandmother said she knew what was going on. She didn't want to be bothered with it. And I thought, wow, why didn't she get more than a 5-month sentence? That bugs me. I just don't understand it. I don't. I just don't understand that at all. Um, it's really heartbreaking. And for police officers and doctors and nurses to be crying about this case, it had to be pretty horrific. It just did. So anyway, good night, ladies. Thank you for being here. Have a good rest of your evening. Enjoy your week. Mother's Day is coming up. Um, I'm going to try to do a live before Mother's Day. Um, Not sure what I'm going to do. I still want to do that grapefruit cake and the Cobb salad that I was talking about, but I may just do a couple of more things. I want to do this grape salad dessert that I'm going to make for Mother's Day. I may just come on and do it and show you that, and maybe a dessert dish that I'm going to do for Mother's Day. I may come on just Saturday and do that. But anyway, good night, everybody. Good night, ladies. I love you. Thank you for being here and critical thinking. Please get a hold of me, and I'll be glad to address anything that you want to ask me. Thank you all. Good night, everybody. Bye bye.